We are bringing back PE. It's going to be a little different though, so keep your eyes peeled for that.
As for media, Maria couldn't make it today, but we have a wiki coming out soon. Basically, this is just going to have information about our server, the game, anything that you guys know. I know a lot of times you guys have to use tickets and stuff like that to get information about the game, but hopefully this will, give you guys a place where you guys can communicate and give each other information, and then information that we'll also provide about everything that we have to offer on Potterworld and how to progress through it properly. We're also going to be doing community voted cosmetic items, so we're going to give you guys an opportunity to vote for things that you guys want to see on the server. It's going to be something similar to like the user voice, where you guys can like upvote each other, but look out for that soon. Soon you guys will be able to come up with those things, and then our amazing artworker team will get those again for you guys.
Apparently everyone wants saxophones for some reason.
Oh my god.
The way that one's going to work is one of our newest art workers, Remy, which made a couple of the models, including the stockings and stuff for this Christmas. He had an idea that he wanted to stream making a model for you guys. I think it would be a really fun idea. So his idea was that we would have some sort of voting competition where you guys can vote what you guys want, and then whatever was upvoted to win would be the item we make into the game. And depending on how much he wants to do this, we could do it a few times a year. All right, game design development. I mean, I think Danny's going to kind of chime in here and there, I guess, on tech, depending on what we talk about. But there's a few things that I have listed here that I wanted to kind of chat about and kind of be transparent about, so that you guys know what we're thinking and where we want to take things. And the very first thing is, I don't think we want to treat our game like something where we just release things and kind of forget about them. Part of the reason why we move a little bit slower in terms of our development cycle is because we're trying to look at the things that we've made already and then figure out, how can we make this better? What can we do to make it a better system? So we revisit a lot of the plugins and the coding that we do previously and try to make it better continuously. And because of that, we don't just have like this forward thinking, in that all we do is like, okay, we made, potions, now we can just move on to the next thing and forget about it. But we want to make sure that those systems still are flowing well. So the first thing we kind of wanted to ask ourselves is like, what did we learn from the Professions initial release? So this is when we came out with the Professions, and we listened to the feedback that you guys had, and we let it run for a little while because we wanted to get some statistics on like how many people were doing it, how fast people were doing it, and those kinds of things. So we think that the first initial release of it is a good first step, but I think, of course, we can do things better. So there's some plans in our to-do list so that we can make it a lot better. So the Profession systems will get a revamp, and some of the systems there will be changing, which I can kind of go into a little bit later. Danny and I are currently talking about some tech to make it a little bit more interactive. I think the fantasy that we all have in minds when we think about like brewing potions, cooking, taking care of magical creatures and whatnot, is that it's a way more interactive than the current system of, hey, we just kind of craft something, put it in a microwave, and then cook it for a certain amount of time, which was in our minds a cool idea, but didn't really like play out to its full potential. So we're kind of looking at other games such as like phone games like Sally Spa and stuff like that, games that are all about micromanaging and also kind of like multitasking and stuff like that at the same time, where you kind of go in there and you are crafting something, but it's got like a lot of different like aspects to it. And so we're going to see what we can pull from the games like that and try to make it so that our next revamp of Professions is way more interactive, almost to a point where it's like, we want to bring back a little bit of that old potions making, where you kind of have all the ingredients and you're kind of throwing them in, and there's like a timer and you have to make sure it doesn't kind of blow up and stuff like that. So look forward to that. I can't say like this is exactly how it's going to work because we are still trying to figure it out. And Danny can speak more to the tech about this if he wants to.
Yeah, so I mean, the reason why we changed away from the system we used to have was It was all done based on timers, and due to like limitations with Minecraft, we have to sometimes change the way things work due to like time, like latency lag. So we had like a group of people where like the potion system was great for because they had like low lag, good connection speeds, but people around the world had like different experiences. So that's why we changed it to where it is now. But now we've kind of, like Jay was saying, constantly improved what we've already made. It's kind of, we're getting to a point where we can kind of put some of those older features back in. So definitely something we'll look forward to doing.
Yeah, totally. And we're trying to think of a way that it doesn't just straight up punish people, because I know in the old system it was like, hey, if you didn't cook anything fast enough, you just lost all your ingredients, and you're like, fantastic. Well, I just spent a lot of time or a lot of money buying all this stuff, and because of a lag spike or something, I failed, and because I failed, you know, they lost their stuff. So we do want to cater to all the differing varying skill levels of the players on Potterworld, from, you know, the people that do have more lag or are slower to the people that are also like a lot skilled, more faster, have faster internet. So Danny came up with this idea where you can kind of, there is a timer and you can kind of go at the speed that you want, but the faster you go, the more rewarded you are. So let's just say, for an example, I'm not saying this is a thing, but you're going to make like a butter brew or whatever. You can take like an hour to make it, and you get a butter brew at the end. But if you're able to do it in like 30 seconds, your reward or your experience that you gain from is actually higher than other people. So the higher skill you are, like the more you're rewarded for it. So that way there is no fail. You still succeed even if you go slow, but succeeding faster equals more reward. So I think that's a good way to have it so it doesn't punish the players too much for not going fast enough, but then rewarding them for the skill aspect that you guys were talking about. So hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully that'll work out well. If you have your own ideas, you know, we always encourage you guys to submit your ideas to User Voice. What I would prefer, if you guys would be writing up kind of like your idea, not just like, I think it'd be cool to have this, and then that's like the only thing that you submit to User Voice, but like write up a game design doc if you have an idea, like, oh, I think it should work like this, and this is how it would be broken down. Those kinds of things are fantastic for us. Like reading your guys' ideas. I know a few of you have done it already, and it's been super helpful. We've in fact taken several of the ideas and then like added it to a list because like, yeah, this is a great idea. So the more information you guys can provide, the better. Okay. All right. So next, what changes we want to make to magic and talents? I think the talent system actually went pretty well. Flip and I, as the magic designers, we were looking at it and we were like, there's a couple of talents in there where we felt like weren't super like as useful as other things. So what we want to do is kind of like tweak some of the talents in there to make them all very useful and make it so it's almost even a harder decision to choose between this or that or this one and the other thing. So that's something that we have planned for the new year. You see it now already, starting with the fact that we changed the ultimates, because I don't like that we have to block it in so many places. So we're hoping that once the new ultimates are more balanced, we can unblock them so you guys can fully use them in places like classes and in the wilderness and wherever. Okay? So look forward to that. And as we get closer to it, we'll put out notes like we always do on the changes and whatnot. Okay, mob and dungeon tech revamp. Currently, I think a big reason why professions is seen as something is like, well, cool, you guys got professions, but I don't really see the need for it. I believe it's because maybe the use for it or the call for having those kinds of professions and potions and foods and stuff like that aren't necessarily needed right now, which is hence why we're going to do the mob and dungeon tech revamp. We want to create an incentive for you guys to want to make those things. So perhaps like all the lower tier content, you can do it without professions and potions. But if you want to kind of get to the high end content where you can get like the highest drops, the best ingredients and stuff like that, those mobs are going to be hard enough that either one, you can take like a long time fighting one mob and still best it without anything, or you can kind of buff yourself up with these extra goodies and then be able to take them out a lot easier, thus kind of increasing the efficiency and also the necessity of using said items. So that being said, we also want to create dungeons, not the dungeons we currently have where everyone just kind of teleports in and you guys run through it like a speed run, but more properly like an MMO where you queue up as teams, go in, it's hard. You have to be kind of coordinated as a team to kind of get through things. And on top of that, the potions and stuff like that are going to definitely help you. So hopefully that's the end goal for bringing more reliance on the potions and professions and whatever items that we come up with for that. Oh, and that being said, with the kind of revamp to professions, we kind of want to simplify some things. We know that right now there's like 300 plus ingredients for professions. We might have gotten a little, ingredient happy. So I know that we kind of want to streamline a few things. Maybe some ingredients would be combined from function into like, instead of like meat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, instead of that, just have just one meat. Just like kind of how in Minecraft, it's not like you need like a specific kind of log to make stairs. You can use any of the logs and it would make, stairs. So we would just have a general meat opposed to like 10 different kinds of meats. And then by simplifying that, we're hoping to kind of boil everything down to more simpler ingredients, which means less ingredients. But from those combinations, you can make more things. So I'm hoping that that's where things go with that stuff. Keep it simpler for you guys. Now, what does that mean? We have a lot of ingredients and stuff like that kind of floating out there right now, and people have their professions at the current levels. With a new system like that, like this, we would be changing everything about the professions, including what kind of buffs you'd be getting, because we want to balance it with the mobs and the dungeons and the bosses that we're going to be making. So some of the stuff is going to be deprecated, meaning some of the stuff might become useless. So we were trying to think like, how are we going to kind of keep everything we have now, keep players at where they are now, and like change basically everything about it. It is kind of a hard thing, and I'm not saying this is exactly what we're going to do right now. We need to think about it a little bit, but we were thinking for anyone that hits max level, kind of like how we did with the leveling up thing, you get to keep all the goodies and all stuff that you made during the time, right? You get to keep all your cosmetics and the rewards that you made and then your little prefixes and stuff like that. But we're thinking if we really redesign all the professions, we might as well start from scratch in that when you work on the new professions, you just start over because it's a new system. We have new ingredients. It's not even the old things. The old formulas wouldn't even, not formulas, the recipes wouldn't even work and stuff like that. It's not the cooking, timing, holding thing anymore. So it's something I want you guys to be open to. I'm hoping you guys can be open to. It's like, hey, we're just going to redesign, in a sense, revamp professions so that it works better. But in that, it's like a new system, so we can't just kind of like convert you guys over to where the new system is, if that makes sense. So if it's necessary to bite the bullet and kind of reset everybody's what's it called, profession progress, we're just going to bite the bullet and do it because it'll equal a better system in the end. So that's what I'm hoping that we can avoid. But if not, just be aware that, that might be a thing. But keep in mind, you get to keep everything that you've already unlocked. So you're not losing any of those things. So yeah. Okay. Again, tentative. That's not saying that is going to happen or isn't going to happen. So, okay. With the mob and dungeon tech revamp, there's a big question in my mind. There's a big question that was in my mind that's all about like, what is like the point of making gold? What is the point of, doing mobs? What is the point of making professions and all that stuff? And I was like studying a lot of old games and also listening to a lot of philosophies about what makes really old games good and MMOs and all that stuff. And it's all about like that incentive of, what is it? Like, why do you want to play this game in the first place? This is stuff we've never really thought about like long time ago, because in the old system, it was just like you were just kind of going to classes and getting ACs. But now that we have more of a game, I want to really make it so something like you come on, you're like, there's something I want to work towards. I want to unlock that achievement, or I want to get this best piece of loot, or whatever it is. So we're trying to think of these kind of things as we design these new elements to the server, and think about like, what would it be like, something like, what's that shiny apple at the end that you're like, oh my gosh, I need to have that, Could it be in COMC profession that it's like, oh, it's you can ride a hippogriff mob, or in the dungeon there's like a gear you can piece, like an awesome necklace that it will buff your damage or something like that, and if you kill the last boss, but it's really hard, so you have to like get potions and team up with other people and stuff like that. So I'm really thinking about like, what can I make so that you guys have that incentive to want to make gold, to want to, trade items, to want to make profession items. So yeah.
User joined your channel.
About a year ago, we talked about the MSL thing, which MSL is the main storyline. And we've been working on this thing slowly. It's not as easy as we thought that it was going to be. It's like, oh, we'll just write a big old story and just make a ton of quests that's built up to it. So it takes a lot more than just that to make an MSL. But several people had feedback as we were making these kinds of things. I think the big draw of Potterworld is that when you guys come onto Potterworld, this is your story that you're writing. I am my own wizard. I want to, level up this way, or I want to be more proficient at that thing, or whatever. So I heard a lot of feedback that having an MSL might make it so that, hey, well, then everyone really just kind of lives the same story and lives the same life, and no one feels unique from each other. So I still do want to have a main storyline for Potterworld, but the mentality I want to have for it is that the world of Potterworld exists whether or not you are there or not. Okay? So, for example, like, I want to make it feel like the world is a living, kind of breathing, growing entity, whether or not you are the hero or not. If you want to be the hero, you totally can. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. I want to have that kind of free, open choice for you guys to kind of choose. So one thing I kind of want to do, and an idea that I want to focus on, which I think will benefit our team and also you guys, is we hear a lot, very often in the user voice, like, hey, where are the quests? I want more quests. I want more stuff. So I came up with this idea of having the side quest feature. So I was going to train the quest builders and all that stuff to start thinking up ideas where, very much like the Tommy Riddle NPC, instead of having riddles every day, there would be kind of like key NPCs around the world. Let's just say there's like, a professor, like a DADA professor, just kind of like out there, and he has like 20, 30 quests already on him. And you can do them like once every 2 hours or something like that, and they randomize. So you can repeat these like once a week or something like that. But we're hoping what we can do with this is fill the world full of NPCs where you would just run into an NPC out in the world, and he's like, oh my gosh, I need help, planting these legumes or something like that. And you're like, great, I'll help you. And then when you do it, you get some gold, you get some experience, you get some, maybe it's even profession experience if it's related to professions or something like that. And anywhere you go in the server, you would find these NPCs. Nothing leads you to them. It's to promote exploration. You would just kind of go out and see what you find that day. More than just NPCs, though, what I really like to do is sometimes you'd walk in a cave and you'd see a little black hole, and you're like, and it's like sparkling, so you like right click on it, and it's like, do you want to enter? And then if you do, it teleports you inside to where there's a maze or a parkour or something else. And so by getting to the end of it, you actually are rewarded for just kind of stumbling across this thing in the world. I think doing things like this will kind of bring back that worth of exploration into the world. And not only that, it's going to give our team a lot of practice making kind of smaller quests, so that when it's time to do the big MSL thing, we are ready. Like, we're already fully trained, and we can kind of like push that along really smoothly. So the idea is just having it so, at any time, you guys will have tons of things to do. And then it's all about like going out into the world and exploring and finding it for yourself. So that's my goal with the side quest system. Let us know what you think, if you have ideas for it. I think for us, it's going to be a great idea because, one, it gets you guys gameplay. Two, it gives us lots of practice, like lots of practice making quality side quests that are not necessarily like 10 objectives long, but just like 2 or 3. But then, we can expand and grow from there. And then the other thing I have listed on here is the music server audio server. So for a long time, we've not had music on the server. And music, in my opinion, sounds are a huge part of any gaming experience. The music server, the audio server, is basically the way we want to make it work, which I'm pretty sure some of you have seen on other servers, but we're making our own version of it, is you type like /music into the game, and then it like gives you like a link that you can click on, and then you just connect to it. You type in your name, and then it just tracks where you are and plays music depending on which area you're in. We're hoping that we can use this also in like mini games, so that when you're playing mini games, you will hear minigame music and etc. etc. Any questions about that? Okay. Another idea that I know Flip is really pushing for, which I think is a great idea, is bringing back some of those old spells that you guys can't get anymore. Things like Colovaria and stuff like that. He wants to create, which I think will go very well with the idea, the exploration side quests idea, is a talent system based on exploring. It's almost like an achievement system. So it's like find this many, chests, or find this location, or do this many parkours, or whatever. And by doing that, you unlock spells in that system, the ones that you don't get through normal leveling up. This could include things like the old Sectum Sempra and stuff like that as well. Other than that, we just want to make it so that you guys can get all those spells again, but through a fun kind of exploration one. System using talents. Let's see. Right. I think that's most of the stuff that we had written down here. So we kind of wanted to answer some questions. You have some commonly asked questions. There's a few of them that were copied so that we address the ones that were like most common to you guys. So first thing, is there anything else that the other heads want to add on first before I go into these?
I think we could give a couple of tech updates on the stuff that we're working on as well.
Yeah, go ahead.
So obviously we've released the new marketplace, or the shop system. Thank you for everybody who's been giving feedback. It's been really great. We're working on a few updates, so expect to see some more improvements coming out in the next couple of weeks. The next update is going to be a global marketplace, so we're bringing back we're bringing a new NPC to the main marketplace building. It'll be similar to the old marketplace, however this time you can search for what items you want to look for, and it will find the sellers that are selling them for you. It will hunt out the best priced sellers, and it will automatically buy them for you, and you just pay those sellers directly. So that's coming out super soon. We're going to be bringing category systems out. We're going to be bringing more insights, so you can see how you're selling, where you're selling, if your promoters are making you money, all that kind of stuff. We've got some ideas from players about offering ways to put out notices. So we're going to bring a book system, so you can submit a book to your shop, and that is shown to players when they join. So you can like write a little intro to your shop. So that's coming out soon. So yeah, all in general, shops is going really well. The system's working good so far. The feedback has been great. It's not finished yet, so don't take it as finished. We're going to continue to add to it, and obviously it's grown around how you guys want to use it. So if you've got any feedback, please do let us know. What else we got on the list? Jay's also touched on the music system, so that hopefully will be coming out soon. I did want to touch on a little project that we've been working on for a while. So, as many of you know, we use Engine for our website at the moment. We have been working on a replacement to move away from Engine. Engine's been great for the few years we've been using it to get us to where we need to be, but we've kind of outgrown what Engine can offer for us. And we really want to enrich our website for you guys to have like a more immersive experience. So we've decided to work on our own website. I'm going to give you a little sneak preview of little that we've been working on. Give me 1 second to get this. So this is a sneak preview of player profiles that is coming to the new website. So it pulls all your in-game information and shows it on a website. This is the first version that we're working on at the moment. It'll automatically pull all your spells up, all your profession levels, etc., etc. We're going to be pulling in your player shop will come onto there as well, so you'll be able to see what people are selling. Your chocolate frog cards are going to go on there as well. All the different cards you've collected. All the different collections that we've got going off will all be shown on there as well. It's going to be really cool. We're working on it soon. Well, we're already working on it in the minute. We're hopefully going to get it out soon. The beta version is going to come out hopefully in the next couple of months. We're hoping that it's going to be really great. We're really excited for you guys to see it. And we're really excited to get away from engine so we can kind of flourish a little bit more and make some really cool new website features for you guys.
A couple of cool things that we're going to do is once we add other systems into the game, like dueling teams and guilds and whatever, right? That would all appear under your profile. So you could always go like, okay, I want to see what, Krynos' thing is and how many arenas he's won. You would open up his profile and then you could totally see that and it would show all there, show all of his achievements, see the kind of things that he's done, maybe see what Quabble Ball team he's part of and how many teams or how many games they've won and stuff like that. So all that stuff is coming into the profile, which is all stuff that we can't do if we stay on Engine because their limitations on what we can do with their system is a lot higher. But on our own system, we can kind of have no ceiling and we can kind of go wherever we want with it.
Yep, totally. I don't know, Jay's just dropped like 2 major hints in that sentence. So yeah, we are working on quests and we're also working on Quabble Ball. Hopefully going to have those 2 features out in the very near future as well. Quabble Ball is in testing at the minute. We're not quite happy with everything at the moment. We want to make sure it's like really good for you guys and a great experience. So hopefully we'll have that out soon. It's really, really close. We're just putting the last finishing touches to it. So
yeah, we're just making sure that like when we release that thing, it's fully playable. We don't want it to come out and all of a sudden you guys are like, well, half of it works and half of it doesn't. Yep. The game is actually fully playable at this point. Like you can ask staff, we've played it before. It's fun to play, but there's like some bugs. We want to kill those bugs before we release the game. So hopefully we're doing it as fast as we can. We don't want you thinking like we just keep saying that's done, but it actually is playable and it actually is fun. It's just we need to make sure that it's bug-free before we release it. Yeah. And also Danny said quests, he meant guilds, but yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yep, guilds.
Yeah.
Yep, guilds are coming soon. There's also another thing we want to touch on. So we've noticed, well, we take everybody's feedback back and we do realize that navigation on the server is a little bit difficult at the minute. So we're exploring some new options. For one of the ideas we're having at the minute is a compass or like a navigation bar. So this is a little bit of a concept, a little bit of research that we've been doing. So we're thinking of a system that would look at something like this. This is something that's already been made before, but we're going to integrate something similar into Potterworld, we're thinking. So it will work with quests, it'll work with the codexes, so you can kind of focus where you want to go. It's optional, you won't have to have it on all the time. I'm going to make it so you can turn it off if you don't want it. But it'll help you get to where your objectives are for your quests. But obviously we can only work with what's available in Minecraft. We can't add anything to the game, so we're kind of looking around what's available in the client for us to use. So that's obviously like a huge limitation to us, but we're going to see what we can do and hopefully make the navigation experience a lot better for quests.
Okay, so when is roleplay coming back? Now, I want to say roleplay is one of those things which I have answered this question in the past before, but I don't want to just be closed-minded to an idea where, a lot of people enjoy it. And in the past, what we did is we did a lot of manual role-playing, where we would have people that were kind of very interested in playing, or like kind of spelling out a role-play story, and then you guys kind of just like followed them along. People like Seb and stuff like that, which was super great, and I think it was really awesome. I'm trying to think of a way to do it because now our server doesn't function like it used to. Like, for example, back in the day, our server was one server, as in, everyone would connect to, one world and then the next one and the next one. Now that we have separate servers and it turns on servers kind of automatically, it's very hard for us to be like, well, let's just go act on this server. And then obviously everyone wants to join that server, and then it hits the 80-person cap, and then, well, too bad for everybody else. They cannot experience the story. So I'm trying to figure out like if there's a way we can do some sort of roleplay event where it's kind of half and half, where we use quests to kind of supplement some of the doing, which I think talking to a few people, They mentioned that they really liked the last Battle for Hogsworth event. I believe that was the one that people were talking about. And what we did on that one, which turned out to work pretty well, was we created quests that were doable by you guys, and then there was little bits of acting that, like, you know, the roleplay heads or whatever would do. I don't know if that's the right answer. It's very difficult to kind of like do a lot of manual stuff, because what it just ends up doing is some people get to experience it and then most people don't. So I don't want to say roleplay is never coming back, but if it does come back, it wouldn't work exactly like it did then, mainly because the server can't function that way anymore. So we would have to come up with something else. I know we're several people that want to bring that back, and I know several people want to kind of head that. So it's not an idea I'm totally against, but that's the best answer I can give to you guys for now. Okay, so maybe. Will the Mysterious Manor ever be released? Yes, we actually plan to release that next year pretty soon, because the house itself is done. We just need to find an area to place it so it doesn't just look like it's just a house and there's nothing else to it. So yes, it will, and soon. Is there any early information on magizoology and how will it differ from the previous professions? Danny, this one's your baby.
I don't know how much we want to mention.
That's up to you. That's up to you.
So we've been exploring a couple of ideas. So it's all like, as well as player suggestions are also greatly appreciated on this one. We've been exploring ideas around including some sort of collectibles system into it, so you can kind of collect items as you go. Also care for creatures out of the main profession line. So it's going to be, we want it to be kind of familiar like the other profession system, but take it a little bit further, so it's kind of like something you can do, be proud of, show the different animals that you've collected and cared for. Yeah, it's very in its early stages. We're thinking it's not being forgotten about. We are working on it, but we want to do something really cool with it. We want to make the experience really immersive and interesting. I don't know if you've got anything else to add on to that, Jay?
We could probably go into a lot of details of what we've been talking about in terms of ideas, but we don't want to like kind of just like spew those all out and be like, hey, have you guys like latch onto certain ideas like, oh my gosh, I want this one, this one. It's like, well, we don't even know what's possible yet, because we want to make sure that we do the right thing. So kind of be on the lookout for more information about that. We'll do more announcements when we get more ideas on how exactly we want that one to work. But yeah, it's going to differ in that, like, the other things are all about, like, crafting things. These things are about taking care of things. So, like, the more or less, it's like those creatures and stuff have needs, and you have to cater to them to make sure that they're happy. And that's kind of, like, the more gameplay that's the kind of style of gameplay we want to kind of go with. So, at least you guys know that we want to head in that direction, because it's care of magical creatures. So, yeah. Let's see. Are there any updates in the future that might stand out and majorly change the gameplay of the server? I would say the biggest one right now is, the biggest two are like the side quest system that I want to focus the quest builders on, and also the revamp to the professions. Actually, everything that I talked about previously is probably going to majorly impact the server, like once we have real dungeon tech, once we have those bosses, once we have harder mobs, everything will influence it, because I really want to make it so you do need to kind of rely on every system to kind of play the game. Have you thought of adding in other schools such as Ilvermorny or Durmstrang, and if you have, do you intend to add them to the server at some point? Yes. All of them. I'll just leave that as the answer. Do we want to add it to the server at some point? Yes. Do we want to go as far as adding all the other schools? Maybe. So, yeah. But definitely the three, right? The three and the Triwizard. So, what is a feature in the future that you're excited about? Oh, that's a hard question. Like every feature I'm excited about. It's so hard because it's like, we want to like work on everything at the same time, but we can't. We have to like focus one thing at a time. And that's hard for you guys, because it's like we're only getting to work on like one major thing at a time. I wish we had a full like team to like have every section worked on by like 10 people. It'd be amazing. But alas, we do not have that. So for me personally, I really, really want to get Quabble Ball out, and I really, really want to get the music thing out because, like, to me, music is so much of everything. So, in general, I think it would be a great addition to the server. Dungeons as well and everything else. But yeah, literally everything. Everything is great. I'm excited about everything. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. What progress has been made towards the release of the Phoenix update, and do we have an estimate time for its release? So yes, we are actually still working on the Phoenix update, like the whole world thing that we talked about a year ago. Like that's still in progress. In fact, we have made more progress on it. The world itself that we showed you last year has more villages and builds made all over it. However, it's going to be a slow process because it's a giant world. Like you think, oh yeah, I'm just going to build like 10 cities. Yeah, not an easy thing to do. And plus, not only that, we have to also make sure that you guys are comfortable and happy playing the game that you're playing right now. So our attention's kind of split. It's if we had nothing but like a closed server and we could just do nothing but work on the world, it would go a lot faster, of course. But you know, we're still trying to get out events for you guys. We're still trying to get out mini games and fixing bugs and stuff like that. So it all kind of like melts together and kind of, you know, takes more time. So.
All right. The first question is, will the Xerxes dungeon reopen?
Yes. Soon, actually. Very soon. I think we're trying to actually get it out in this like next week or so.
Chris?
Oh, sorry. A little bit distracted there. Let's see. Okay, somebody's asking why are events starting to repeat?
Can we get a little bit more detail about that?
Literally all it says.
If you guys mean like repeating builds and stuff like that, we want to kind of start being smart about how we create features for you guys. I don't know if you guys are aware, but like creating events from scratch every single time takes so much time. Like you would think, oh yeah, we can just build something in a week and then just kind of get quests going in another week, and then it's never the case. What we want to do is start creating a library where we build upon things that we've done in the past. Otherwise, for us, it's a lot of wasted work. We work like for months on something. It comes out, everyone enjoys it for like a month at the most, and then it's gone. And then we never use it again. And literally all that time is just gone now. For all of that is invested in just 1 month and it's gone. So what we would much rather is start to build upon it every time. So we bring back, so if it's Christmas and we only focus on Christmas, next year you'll see this year's mini games and then added a few mini games to it, and then so on and so forth. So all the mini games that you do continuously increase, because yes, for some of you, you guys have seen some of the stuff before, but there's a lot of people that come and go on the server. You know, like there are people who are sitting in this chat today that weren't here last year. You know, they've never seen, you know, those things, and you know, how come they don't get to experience these kinds of things. So I think it would be a good idea to like continue to build this library of content for you guys to continuously enjoy no matter how long you've been on here. But that being said, I'm pretty sure you guys haven't seen something like Beaubois before. So there is some repeat and some not repeat, so
Okay,
yeah.
do you want to move on to the next question, Anya?
All right. In your guys' opinion, what was the best event this year?
Whew.
My favorite, personally, I think Valentine's Day, like of February of last year, or like this year, I guess, but like the last half of this year, or the earlier half of this year. That's my favorite, personally.
I'll let everyone else answer too.
I'm gonna have to say this one, the current one, because I'm loving running around the school. So, and also this time of year is also always my favorite.
I'm really proud of what we were able to produce this time for Christmas, so I really like that one. But I am a huge Star Wars fan, so every time the Star Wars event comes by, I'm just like, Star Wars! So you know, I'm really biased there. So, but yeah. And you get like lightsabers in Minecraft, and you can like deflect laser bolts. I mean, like, what is there not to love? To be honest.
What more could you want? Yeah.
Yeah. A wizard Jedi. I mean, it's best of both worlds, really.
Okay, so the next one is there's a question asking if survival will ever come back.
You know, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you can go, Jay.
No, I'll let you answer this one.
I think in its form that it was in before, no, is quite the simple answer to that one. Survival servers are quite difficult to run. That server grew faster than we planned it to grow, and from an actual operate, like from to give a bit of context, I run the server and I run everything behind the scenes. I make sure everything's running properly, and survival caused a lot of problems. It grew in size quite quickly, and because it's an open world where everybody can change it, there's a lot of ongoing things where people can change things. It causes lag, and it's like it just creates unbalance. So we're working towards more systems like we have now, where you can change things but in a controlled way. So we might explore some sort of like survival elements in the future, but not exactly as it was before.
Yeah. And to be honest, like it was a cool feature, and especially for people that had kind of hit the cap of like, I'm graduate now, there's something else I can do. But the cost of what it took to ram that in terms of like the manpower, the time, the money, and all that stuff actually didn't warrant the number of players that actually played on there at the end. There actually wasn't that many compared to people that would just rather stay on Potterworld itself. So that was the main reason why we decided to take it down. It just wasn't there was no give and take on that one. So, but like Danny said, we're hoping to kind of bring back survival elements back to the server so that you get some of that feel, but in a controlled way. Next question.
Alrighty. In the last Q&A, you guys mentioned player resetting. Is there any update on that?
There is no player reset. There's no player reset. There will not be a player reset.
Okay. So it's asked here, what about an achievement system?
Danny.
Planned? I can't commit to when it will be, but it is something we definitely want to do. We'll also plan on integrating it into the website and also in-game, so you can kind of like right-click on somebody and be like, hey, I want to see what this person's achieved, or look on their player profile on the website too. Yeah, planned. Hope to see it maybe like early mid next year.
From your channel.
All right. You guys mentioned teams for Quabbable. Wow. Okay. What are the extent of your plans with that?
Do you want to answer this one? Or you want me to go?
You can go, Jay.
Okay, so what I'm thinking for here, and this is because this is still pretty early, as in we haven't, you know, come up with the solution for this yet, but what I would like to have is that players can make up their own teams and then call themselves like a name. So like we're like Shorties are us. Okay, sure. That's say that's the Quabble Ball team. You guys would be able to, what I'm hoping is to kind of come up with like team colors and stuff like that, and that would be like kind of when you play Quabble Ball, the banners that are placed on your back would turn into your colors. So it's like basic banner kind of manipulation kind of thing. And then you guys would have a team, and then your team would have a ranking on the website, you know, the new one that we have. And then when you play other teams in a ranked match, if you win, you go up in ranking. If you lose, you go down in ranking. And that's the very preliminary kind of idea we have for it. So that, you know, there's a little bit of that competition when it comes down to Quabble Ball. And we can hold tournaments just like we do with the flying and the dueling, and winners get stuff. So that's what we want.
Okay. So what will the role of the foreign schools play on the server?
That's a great question. I think it's a little early to tell. I know, like with a server like Rallying's Realm, they wanted to be like, oh yeah, you can kind of start at like whichever school you want it. I've always been in the firm belief that, like, you know, the draw of why we're all here in the first place is Harry Potter, right? Like, and being at Hogwarts and all the stuff like that. So my focus has always been that you get to start here and then branch out from here. they would probably turn into places that you go and explore and do more quests and learn more about characters, find things, like be part of the world. It's places like you visit, like if you were a, Hogwarts students, like if you were to travel there, what would happen? Who would you meet and things like that. The idea of like, could I be a, Bobois student or a Dormanstrad student or whatever? Maybe. Though I'm not really sure how that would work yet because it's way too early to think about that. But I'm not opposed to it.
Alrighty. For the store releases, are they planned for every month, or how is that going to work?
The store releases, you mean like 3D models?
Yeah, like the items ones, how's all that?
Yeah, I mean we try to release a few things every month. Whether or not that happens, it is largely depending on my schedule and stuff. In the past, it's been always dependent on my schedule because mostly I make all the models on the store, and it all depends on if I have time to do that. With the help of new art workers, this could be more of a thing. And we would love to. That'd be great. But yeah, it all depends on that because I want to make sure that the stuff that actually goes in the store, the stuff that you guys kind of help support the server with, is something that is of the highest quality, and also very consistent in terms of the look. So even when we quote unquote get new art workers, I want to make sure that they're all like up to standard when they want to make stuff for the store, so that that the support that you give us rewards you with something of the highest quality.
User disconnected from your channel.
Okay, so the next question is: will Potterworld ever be updated to our 1.13 or even 1.14, since there's going to be new features with water changes and some new items and mobs that could be used for gameplay?
Yes, just don't have a commitment to when yet. It's quite a lot of work to do that, so it'll take a little bit of planning to do it. It is planned. We are planning on doing it probably early to mid next year. We just wanted to fix a few other things before we started changing something. But hopefully the client support will come soon. We use and rely on a third-party developer for support for the 1.13 client, so hopefully we can get that in soon. But full support for 1.13 plus will hopefully come in the early next year.
Alrighty, what are your thoughts on perhaps catching creatures in the wilderness and then using them for their abilities, such as catching a hippogriff and using it as a broom?
Wait, using it as a broom? Wait, what did you say?
Yeah, like being able to fly a hippogriff like a broom.
Oh. I thought you meant like to sweep the floor. I'm like, wait, what? That's so dark. Okay, sorry. Okay. Actually, yeah, that kind of idea actually crossed our minds when we were thinking about what COMC can be. Is like, it would be cool, like, you kind of find an egg out in the wild, you bring it back, you nurture it, you make it hatch, you feed it, you take care of it, you make it happy. It rewards you with some ingredients that you use, like hippogriff feathers and whatnot. But at the end, if you quote unquote master a creature or like master taming one, you unlock some sort of benefit. Now, whether that benefit is a flying mount, like a flying hippogriff that I'm pretty sure you've seen me flying on, or maybe something like a thunderbird can give you. And essentially, like the kind of way I was looking at it, I was talking about this with other people. Again, this is not a final idea or anything. You would have another kind of wand, almost like I picture it kind of like one of those thick leather gloves that you are like falconeers kind of wear, and it's essentially like a wand. You would right click, it would open it, and then you have a list of almost like creature abilities, depending on what you've mastered, right? So if you master Thunderbird, you can use the creature ability like, Lightning Strike or something like that. Or, if you mastered, Niffler, you can like steal gold from your friends. I don't know, something like that. I'm not saying that that's going to be a thing because that would probably be broken. But I mean, that would be the idea. So it's like you have like your creature glove that can kind of control all your abilities. You have your normal wand for all your normal spells. And then COMC would also unlock things like flying mounts and rideable things and stuff like that. Hopefully that answers the question.
Okay, so this one is directed more at Mira. What are you doing to the Wizards PE? What kind of changes are you making?
Yeah, okay. So I am not going to tell you that much about what we're actually doing, but I will give you a couple little hints. So in the past, when we took PE away, there was sort of, half the people were really upset about it, half the people kind of hated PE, and I understand that like there are people who really don't like parkour, and then there's people who are really not good at it. So we wanted to make it more something that everybody could enjoy, and something that was more in the middle, where if you're really good at parkour, you can definitely complete it and complete it quickly, and if you're not, then it might be a challenge, but you can still you're still really able to finish it. So that's kind of what we're shooting for. The other issue that we had with it was that it wasn't all that magical. There wasn't a lot of magic involved at all. You sort of just jumped from block to block, and there wasn't, like, unless the professor did some trivia or something, you didn't really use any spells. So we're trying to make it more of a very clear magical experience where you are going to need to use spells, and it will teach you something about the spells rather than just being jumping from one place to another. So it will still be the way you remember it, but it won't quite be exactly the same. So it is going to be a little bit different.
User disconnected from your channel.
Alrighty. Besides the locations and things already mentioned, are there any other plans to add locations to the Harry Potter universe into the server?
Yeah, actually. So with the release of the Fantastic Beasts movies, we definitely want to kind of, draw ideas from that. There's a lot of cool builds in that. However, the only issue is, wait, we're in the future and they're in the past. So I was actually thinking, like, perhaps we could add some places like the French ministry and stuff like that, because they're beautiful builds and I think it'd be a great idea. But there are some builds that wouldn't really make sense time-wise, but I think we could do it like maybe you hop in a pensive kind of idea, like our memory walker, and then you go back and you kind of experience things, maybe even a quest that happens back in the past, where the buildings look old and, you see Normangaard and stuff like that back in its heyday, before it was actually a prison. So that was the plan for those kinds of things.
Okay,
User
so
disconnected from your channel.
there's a question here that says, will there be more mini games for the Star Wars event? Knew that was coming.
Right. I don't see why we couldn't add more mini games to the Star Wars event.
We did start one last year. We could probably finish it off this year.
Yep.
Started working on a payload escort game, so it was like you escorted like a droid from one side of the map to the other, while two teams fought against each other.
User joined your
Escort the
channel.
payload.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alright. When the new schools come out, are there going to be roleplay roles for like headmaster and head of houses and stuff?
I don't see why not. As of right now, we would have to figure out like what the logistics of those kinds of thing and what those ranks are actually, because I know we have like heads of departments, and then we have like role play head names for them, like, oh, you're head of Griffins or you're head of whatever, and I guess the head of Beaubois would also be likely RP rank. So at the end of the day, I want people to have fun, and if people want to have fun and have things like that, I'm not opposed to it.
Okay. So, will there be an event where you can choose sides or which side to be on? Kind of like a Battle of Hogwarts of sorts.
Yeah, actually, we were talking about having some sort of quest lines where basically you do have to choose a side. So, I mean, those are harder, where you have to kind of choose, and then the whole story kind of changes depending on what you choose. It takes a lot of pre-planning for that kind of quest work, but again, I don't think it's a bad idea. We have already talked about it. We were thinking about doing a allegiance quest line where you essentially choose, and it has nothing to do with whether or not you donated or not to one of the packages, but you can choose a side, and then your story would play out depending on which side you chose. See, but that's the thing. When it comes down to role play, quote unquote, I see it that way instead. Like, what if we came out with role play, but there's like a story, but it's kind of helped along by a quest chain. Like, to me, that's more plausible, because then everyone gets to experience it. It's not like, oh, you weren't there, I wasn't there, I didn't get to see it. Well, sorry, you missed out. That just feels bad for, you know, most people. If that makes sense.
All right. What is your opinion on the current state of tournament and the repeated winners since the removal of the rule preventing you to win 2 tournaments in a row?
So this one's pretty easy. I think if you look at any kind of tournament, like if you look at the Olympics, whoever wins the gold medal from last year doesn't just like you can't win it again. They can totally compete again. They're just hoping that there's a better person next year to kind of come back and compete. I felt bad. I didn't feel that it was right. That's like, hey, you work so hard to be the best. Now that you're the best, you have to sit back and, you know, skip the next tournament. I felt that, you know, if you're good, you should be allowed to continuously compete and kind of uphold your title. I don't think it should be like, oh, well, you know, the best people didn't get to compete this next tournament, and that's why I won. To me, I feel like that would be kind of a cop-out. I feel like I wouldn't have really earned that championship if, you know, I didn't actually fight the person that was the best. So in my mind, I think the answer to that is that, should we stop people from winning too many times in a row? I think the answer should be, if you want to be the best, you should practice to be the best and beat the people that are better than you. I think when it comes down to competition, I think, like, to me, a well-earned victory is a real one. So to me, you can't be any more real than fighting the people that are the best.
Okay. So mine is, will the Triwizard Tournament ever be a proper thing?
It was a thing, but
I think we're planning to bring it.
Yeah, we're planning. It's not exactly the manually run way we did it last time, but a more automated way. Yes. So yes, it will be a thing.
All right. Will there be any changes to the current XP/leveling system, as this is a bit too grindy for later?
So we did recently put out a change where we kind of like redistributed the leveling speed from 1 to about like mid years, I think, so, or like 5th year or something like that. So it's like a lot quicker in the beginning, then yeah, it slows down near the end. It's not, the end part actually isn't any more slower than it would be before we did this change. That's still the same. It's just that the first few years are actually faster. Currently, we're looking at data to see if, like, how fast people kind of get there, but as of right now, we're kind of happy with where it is. Yes, it's a bit more grindy, but I feel like it's a bit more grindy because of the things that you do to level up. If we can add more things for you guys to do, such as these side quests and stuff like that, I think it would be a lot better. Any other questions?
Chris, it's your turn.
Oh, yep. Sorry. Will there ever be rentable houses, possibly for the new map? Sorry, my cat distracted me.
Rental houses for the new maps. Wait.
I think it means for
It's
like
possibly for the new world map.
Oh, you mean like on the world?
Yes.
I mean, we're probably going to have like the whole promoter thing kind of all over. So you go to a certain district and you'd have players selling stuff all over the place. It's very difficult to do on the map rentable buildings. It's the same problem we had last time when we had the original Potterworld rentable stuff. We just had to plop down a ton of like schematics and then had to revert them when people were done like renting them or whatever, because they would break. Doing like on the actual map editing stuff is never going to work for us. So we're willing to do things like promoters and stuff like that, but not rental housing the way you're probably thinking.
Alrighty, a lot of people were talking about this in chat, but will the whale parkour map be playable to the public?
I don't want to say yes 100% because I'm not 100% sure, but a probable yes, I think so. Because I know that that's something that all the people who like parkour really, really like that map. So probably yes.
Honestly, if people love it that much, I don't see why we need to kill it. We could probably put it as one of the little elevator games so that you guys
Yeah.
can enjoy it still. So
It just,
I'm not opposed to that.
And for those that are asking about PE, I said this in chat, but I don't want to confuse anybody. PE will still be the PE as you know it now will still be an event class, just like it is now. We're just also adding back a slightly different version of it. So it's not like you're never going to see those classes again. And also those procores aren't just going to go away. They're still going to be there, and all of that. And like I said in chat, if you've got anything, any other questions that you don't want to ask here, you can always PM me on Discord. I'm happy to answer them. And also taking feedback on the idea because it is still in progress. And so if there's anything that needs to be changed, you can let me know and I'll be happy to talk about it.
Okay, so we're going to enter our last 3 questions here. So if you want to start asking.
Chris?
Will there ever be a special spells? Sorry, my mic's not working. That are unique to individual players.
Special spells that are unique to individual players. The extent of that is making the spell have an override where it draws from your wand's color, and then that way it's like, oh, my flipendo is green or blue or whatever. But in terms of a custom spell for that person where no one else can get it, probably not.
All right. Will there ever be a possibility of having a kind of like Patronus sorting quiz so you can get your own custom Patronus?
That could be interesting. It's not a bad idea. Maybe. But I saw the question on here. We would never be able to pull it off the store because then it would essentially kind of like the people that did purchase them, whether or not it was a lot of people or not. It's very unfair to them.
Okay. Will there ever be a real port key method of travel, especially to travel with friends or multiple people?
Hey, Danny, this is for you.
Yes. We're working on reworking the portkey bag. So in our plans for the portkey system was instead of just right-clicking, it TPs you instantly there. We're going to make it so you throw the portkey on the floor. We're going to potentially look at different portkey appearances that you can achieve, through quests and in-game and potentially on the store. And we're going to make it so if you're in a party, whoever's in your party can also use your portkey while it's on the floor. Essentially be traveling, or people can pay you to portkey around the world, or you can get your friends around as you go.
I would totally think that this would tie into Flip's exploration talent system where you can only unlock portkeys to certain locations after you've mastered said thing. So you have to kind of earn them. You can't just be like, well, I can just port everyone everywhere anytime.
All right. Yep. This is going to be the final question, and it's most difficult, honestly. What's your favorite fast food restaurant?
Fast
Very
food?
important. Yes, fast food.
Fast food. Huh. I have to go last. Someone else go.
Mine is Shake Shack, hands down. I love it.
Oh my god. Jesus. I'm not a fan of Shake Shack. Don't kill me. Please don't kill me.
Wow. Disappointment.
Well, I really like grilled chicken sandwiches, and I didn't like their grilled chicken sandwich, so I don't know. I don't know what you want from me. God, I don't know. Does Five Guys count? Because it's just I grew up going to Five Guys.
I love Five Guys.
Anytime my dad doesn't want to cook, we go to Five Guys. So I'll go with that one.
I'd probably go with McDonald's, to be honest.
McDonald's?
Classic.
Yeah. We're a bit basic in the UK.
There's a place that I grew up next to called Tommy's Burger. It's a chili burger place. I think it's Californian only, but yeah. Really nostalgic for me, so I'll have to say that one.
Oh my god. Is this place even open anymore?
What, Tommy's Burgers?
Yeah, I've been here before.
Dude, it's amazing. Yeah, there's tons of them.
That sounds so good.
It's
a
like
chili burger?
yeah, they have
Yes.
chili burgers, chili cheese fries, and chili dogs. It's really simple. That's like all they serve, but it's like amazing. Usually you can trust the places that serve nothing but like two things because they do those two things really well.
Okay.
User disconnected from your channel.
Okay, so that was a good last question, but I guess that concludes this Q&A. The entirety of it's going to be hosted on our YouTube channel in the coming days. So if you guys want to repeat this at all, you guys can check it out there. Or if someone that hasn't seen it yet wants to see it, they can check it out there too. We will have more of these in the future, but until then, thank you guys all for coming, and I hope this answered your questions about the server and where it's going, and gave some valuable insight into how things are going here.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.